Dave Lee, YouTuber Dave Lee's review of the i9-based MacBook Pro. He said it was throttling.
Our pal Dave2D just published a video where he shows that there is really no benefit in buying these new computers.
Intrepid YouTuber Dave Lee has found that the Core i9 MacBook performs worse than the Core i7 version.
So there was one video in particular from Mr. Dave2D. He's a great friend, even better human being, and there was so much truth in that video, so many things I agree with, but the overall outcome of that video I think was a little skewed.
Here you are. Okay. There you are.
Let's do this.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dave 2D.
So how are we gonna do this? You're doing an interview.
All right, so listen, if you've been off the internet or you know nothing about tech, then you may have missed Mr. Dave 2D's big video.
No, let's...
Giant, enormous, game-changing video in which he uncovered some interesting details regarding the 2018, specifically Core i9 MacBook Pro. Now, I did a video, I unboxed my new Core 9. It seems that he was dead set on making me less excited, less in love with this new hardware because he had his own trajectory there. He's like, thermal throttling, I'm cooking scrambled eggs on my laptop now. He says, I didn't intend to get a new kitchen appliance. He said,
just hold on. In your video, you quoted me as calling it hot garbage.
That's right.
I never called it hot garbage.
Well, yeah, it was something along those lines. He gets this super hot MacBook Pro and he sticks it into a freezer. The internet was like, it's a MacBook in a freezer. They loved it.
Okay.
Big hit.
Okay. My original intent was not to make a hit piece or anything like that. It was just like a straight objective look at the MacBook.
What we were seeing is this throttling, if you want to call it that.
Sure.
Now explain to the audience,
okay,
thermal throttling.
Computers, particularly laptops, they want to run at a temperature that is tolerable. A high temperature above that level, the CPU has to slow down to make it cooler. The more frequently that happens, the worse the performance of that device.
So essentially what happens here in the case of the newest 2018 MacBook, it gets hot. In order to protect itself at a certain point, it has to sort of slow down.
Yes.
Right? This has been addressed at this point by Apple and they, through software, addressed some of this thermal throttling. Is that correct?
That's correct. Now, to get to that stage, I remember thinking that there was a chance that people would take this video poorly.
Just to quickly explain why I think Dave's video was a little skewed, is the main test he used was honestly the perfect recipe to completely cripple your computer.
When that video went live, some people thought that the new MacBook was not throttling, and it just made me doubt my own work. I went home that night thinking, people like Marquez and John from TLD, they were like...
Wait, let's be clear.
Yep.
You respect those guys?
Absolutely.
I read a headline that says, Apple works with YouTuber Dave2D to fix every MacBook and save the world.
Sure. That's exactly what they all read. That's not what they read. There was a part of me that thought maybe they're trying to publicly disprove my work, which would have been terrible, and that's not what ended up happening.
And the new MacBook Pro here did it in 21 minutes, 21 seconds. When I hit render, it will be 15% faster.
But there was a part of me that was like, maybe that's what they're trying to do.
So how specifically did you and Apple work together?
Originally, they wanted the whole project file. It would have been too much work and too much effort to send them the whole thing. Those project files are big. I told them like the compression format, and then there was like a LUT layer that you apply over your footage to give it a particular aesthetic. Really taxes that laptop hard. With that LUT and with the camera settings, they were able to replicate a similar workflow to mine, and I think that helped them figure out what was going on.
This point right now, Dave2D right now, this Core i9 chip as it is right now, should it be in the current structure of the MacBook Pro?
That's a loaded question, man. It is a very, very thin device. This is, if I'm not mistaken, the thinnest 6-core, 15-inch laptop. You can't put much more in here. You're now sticking the world's fastest chip in here. You're gonna have limitations. I think for some users, that i9 delivers something that weaker processors can't.
A little something extra.
So to answer your question, I think it does belong in here, but I think the expectations of consumers can be a little bit skewed.
It's definitely not operating at its peak capacity within this framework. It's obviously unusual for a company like Apple to reach out to someone like you. That's not something you expected to happen, is it?
No, I wouldn't say unusual.
You'd say it's usual. happens usually.
Maybe unusual is the word.
I'm just saying that there is this narrative online. There's at least a group of people applauding Apple saying this is the way you do it. You have some sort of a claim, like your claim, and rather than get defensive about it, they get out in front of it. They're like, let's get Dave 2D's phone number. Let's see if we can get to the bottom of it. Full disclosure here, whatever this software patch is, I have my own skepticism. Brand new laptop, it's only affecting the Core i9. It's like, we're just gonna roll a little patch here 5 minutes later. Get yourself a Big Mac and a Coca-Cola and all of a sudden we're not having the issue. But nonetheless, they went about it in a path that at least myself, I can't remember them doing.
It's a different Apple. I think there was pressure on them to make this, to resolve it.
You've had this impact. You saved everyone's MacBook Pros in the whole world.
Okay, let's be real here. I didn't save anybody's MacBook. I think that this is something that would have come up eventually from someone, and it would have just been, you know, it would have, the same thing would have happened.
If you were advising an individual which spec MacBook Pro is the value point,
easy. It wouldn't even be the 15. It'd be the 13. Those quad cores make a huge difference on those 13s. I think for most people, they don't need something big, and it saves them a lot of money. I think that like mid-tier i7 is probably where the sweet spot is.
The value point? Yeah. Anyway, big shout out to Dave 2D for breaking down the story right from the horse's mouth. He brought it to light. I think Apple, in this case, should also be commended to a certain degree for taking this type of approach. Apple took a step here. We're gonna hit up a guy, post videos on YouTube to help us get to the bottom of something. We're not gonna hide it. There's a little bit of a silver lining there.
That's good.
When you heard Apple was trying to get in touch with you, were you a little bit scared at any point?
Absolutely.
Okay.